All right, everyone, we should be live. Let's make sure that's actually the case over on Rumble, of course. I'm going to resize this slightly. All right, that's better. Unpause and repause so we don't have to see ourselves in quadruplicate. That would be bad. Yeah, we're going to be talking about various news today. We've got some breaking news. There was a post earlier, this was some hours ago, so it's not like late breaking news, about Jeffrey Epstein's accuser, Virginia Giuffre. I'm probably mispronouncing that. Also, Marine Le Pen, found guilty of embezzlement by French court, and then she's not allowed to run for office. Interesting, because she was the front runner in the current election cycle. I wonder if these are coincidental. We'll explore further. We've got the Wisconsin Supreme Court election. Of course, I endorse Schimel. If you are from Wisconsin or know anyone in Wisconsin, please make sure to get out the vote because it looks like it's going to be pretty close. We'll talk about that as well. Albuquerque GOP headquarters targeted in alleged arson, direct assault on our values. Images from the organization show the alleged vandals spray painted the words ICE equals KKK on the building. Yeah, so the HQ for the GOP in New Mexico got hit by a firebomb. We're seeing bomb-throwing arsonists. It's like a 1915 Redux or something like that right now. Trump announces plan to chop down magnolia tree purportedly planted by Andrew Jackson. According to folklore, 2 trees were planted by Andrew Jackson to honor his late wife, Rachel. I oppose this particular plan. Apparently they're overgrown or something like that. I'm sure that the people that tend to the plants at the White House probably can compensate for this, so I would rather them not be chopped down. Bill Maher, NPR is crazy far left. We're past the age where government needs to subsidize news outlets. So we've got a loaded news docket today. It's going to be a fun time. Oh, yes. I did have one text that I wanted to send before I began the live stream, but I forgot. Oh, and thank you to Anton for sending me Vegemite. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So now I've got the big 3, Bovrite, Marmite, and Vegemite. And of the 3, Bovrite is the best. The South African version is definitely the best extract sort of spread. Marmite's a little bit too gelatinous for me, although it tastes all right. And I like Vegemite. I've had that before from Australian military rations, actually. Let me get to this really quick. Yeah. Let me see. Streaming. Just so that I don't get any service interruptions here. What about the American version? Dolomite? Yeah. Watch The Great Dolomite, Charlie Brown. It's from the most offensive things from those old animations that they did back in the early 2000s. The most offensive Charlie Brown cartoons are one of the funniest things you're ever going to see. The Great Dolomite is hysterical. Copium poppies. Dick cheese. Interesting. Yeah, the dead night tiger. Sexting. No, just making sure because I do have some people that are associated through business and stuff like that, and so I let them know, like, because I'm streaming later than normal, right now I'm not able to take your call, so to speak. Zeta reticulus. Powdered cow is delicious. Yeah, Bovrite is definitely the best of the 3. Vegemite is a close second, but it's more salty, and it doesn't have that beefy overtone. And Marmite, the flavor's not bad. It's just that the texture of it is, I don't know. I think the South Africans do it best. Bovril. Are there any other spreads that are like yeast extract based, by the way? I know there's these 3. There's got to be more, though. Like, there's probably a New Zealand version. There's got to be a Canadian version. I guess they're too busy eating poutine, I suppose. So let's get to the news really quickly here. Marine Le Pen found guilty of embezzlement by French court. Oh, what apt timing. The ruling could complicate her plans to run for president in 2027. Marine Le Pen, the French far-right leader, I love when they call her far-right. The only issue on which she's even on the right on is immigration. Other than that, like her economic policies, they're basically centrist or even left-leaning in most cases. Was found guilty of embezzlement by a criminal court in Paris on Monday, jeopardizing her plans to compete in France's 2027 election, which is interesting considering she's literally the front runner. She's ahead of Macron in the polling. The reason for this is quite clear. They're afraid she'll win, and they don't want Le Pen to win. It's as simple as that. There's a very, very prosaic explanation for what we're seeing here. It's lawfare. They tried to do this to Trump and failed. They've done it in Hungary. They've done it in Brazil with Bolsonaro. They've done it in numerous countries. Now, normally when a country arrests or prevents a person from running for office who is from the political outside, Western commentators will say, oh my God, that's tyranny, it's a terrible thing. In Le Pen's case, I don't think that she's going to be treated quite similarly. Same with Bolsonaro. No, in those cases, it's totally acceptable. Well, she embezzled campaign funds. Okay, well, where's the evidence? Well, we have a feeling that it happened. Well, yeah, because you don't want her to be elected. That's the whole fucking point. It'd be sort of like if the Italian majority had done that. Hey, King of Biltong, by the way. If the Italian majority had done that to Meloni, and Meloni is only half-assed. I mean, she's cute, but at the same time, she's not exactly gung-ho for nation-state style nationalism. So if a person who's part of the missing link political sphere can get through, a person who's maybe a little bit more hardline like Le Pen has much more difficulty doing so. I pointed out this morning in my video on the subject. Show me the man or woman, and I'll show you the crime. Every single person watching this video stream has committed at least multiple misdemeanors in their life, often without their own knowledge. Many of you have accidentally committed felonies. And so if I have the power of the government behind me, if I have ultimate prosecutorial power and investigative power, I can nail you on all sorts of charges. It won't be difficult. Happens all the time. If you are vibing with the system, as the Gen Zers would put it, if you are not raising a fuss, if you're an insider, if you're in the Politburo, so to speak, if you're part of the inner party, you won't have any problems. Just don't step out of line. In China, it works this way all the time. How are we fundamentally different from China? Alibaba's CEO, multi-billionaire, massively rich, hugely influential, brings a lot of money to China, and he can do whatever he wants. Exploit workers, exploit the environment, do whatever the fuck you want. The second that he speaks out against Chinese trade policies, all of a sudden he disappears for a month. He was in a struggle session, so to speak. We do the same thing in the West, but it's more facaded. It's more covered up. Whereas the Eastern Bloc flaunts its power and says, look, step out of line, you get a problem. If you don't step out of line, we show you largesse. In the West, it's more like, no, we're totally not doing that. We're not doing the same thing. It's the same exact thing that they're doing. Copium Poppies. Since our EP is coming out tomorrow, we decided to celebrate by making our second music video Detached available for purchase as a download on copiumpoppies.com. Sounds cool. Yeah, you got some good music there, my dude. Ramon C. GTC. Sticks, what is your favorite cheese and bread combo? Oh, I like Dana Blue. That's the Danish blue cheese. It's really, really crumbly and extremely sharp. And I'll spread that over any sort of herby cracker. Anything like that. Yeah, I eat that if I'm in the Netherlands, trust me, I'm getting Dana Blue on a regular basis. Oh God, I can't wait to have that again. Based Acid Fox. My mom had a college professor who was re-educated in China, stayed a Maoist forever. Yeah, they literally conduct brainwashing sessions and stuff like that. Token Tedio, You're My Paradise. Good song. By yours truly. What the hell was that? Oh, a coin was sticking to the bottom of the cup. Yeah. Water and Red Bull. That's all you need. No, China practices brainwashing. Russia practices brainwashing. So too do Western nations. Show me the man, I'll show you the crime. Copium Poppies. Both videos are available in 2K and 1080p, by the way. Damn character limit. Yeah, you think that people aren't brainwashed at CIA black sites? This was one blot on Trump's character, actually, right after he got elected the first time around. He optioned the concept of bringing back the CIA black sites in random areas. Like there was one in Chicago, it was some old building, and they would bring people that they alleged had done something wrong, something terroristic there, and effectively they would psychologically deprive them, extrajudiciary in the sense, and they would literally like try to melt their minds with psyops. Psyops, because physical wounds heal. Yeah. I would point out that Barack Obama ended the long-standing rule against using the media, the corporate media, to try to propagandize to the public. That was Barack Obama's doing. People still see him as, well, liberals do anyway, as some sort of champion of the people. Bullshit. Kenny Pham, Kanye was in an interview yesterday wearing a black hooded suit shaped like a KKK suit. There is an entire nexus, by the way, of people who are creative, who are on the other side of the political orthodoxy. Justin Bieber is one of them, oddly enough. Marilyn Manson is one of them. You see them with Kanye, actually, wearing their robes and praying in that one particular video clip that was posted a couple of years ago. I would refer you to a music video. I believe it's not Hurt. It's God's Gonna Cut You Down by Johnny Cash. Look at the list of people that are in that video, and then look at their backgrounds, and see if there isn't some sort of outside element within Hollywood and music and things like that. There is, absolutely. You'll notice that most of the people there are Me Too'd or Me Too adjacent. There's a reason for that. It's also a reason why Marilyn Manson decided to cover that song and then make Red Flag. These things are all linked up. There is an underculture within entertainment which actually values liberty and justice. It is a small cohort of individuals, but they are exceptionally talented. Let's try some Vegemite, shall we? If Anton does not mind. It's supposed to be refrigerated afterwards, probably, but... Yep, smells exactly like I remember it. It's more stiff than the Bovrite is more loose. Vegemite is more pasty, and Marmite is more gelatinous, if that makes sense. Just as salty and yeasty as I remember. Delicious on toast. It's just, most people wouldn't like to eat this much in one go. I personally find it delicious. Yep. This one's better than the military ration version. Although that's good too. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to take all three of them, spread them all on a piece of toast, and eat them on cam. Don't worry, you don't need to pay me donations for me to do that. I like salty foods sometimes. Frank Pizzo. What about Bloomberg having 3 terms as mayor of New York City back in the 2000s? Bloomberg is a failure. And Bloomberg exported his anti-gunnery to my state. Originally, Susan Minter, or Sue Minter rather, was running against Phil Scott. And I voted Phil Scott. He was the Republican candidate. And that was because, obviously tax policies mainly, and things like that, regulation. And on economic issues, Phil Scott has actually done a pretty good job. But as soon as Sandy Hook happened, what's the first thing that Phil Scott does? And he was the only Republican governor not to actually endorse Donald Trump, by the way, in this last election. What does he do? He passes Bloomberg's anti-gunnery sans only one thing, which was a ban on assault-style weapons. I like how they have to say assault style, because assault weapons doesn't actually apply to the weapons involved. Captain Spire, moving to Colorado, and I'm finding out a lot of conservatives cling to a centrist mindset, but it feels like they pick and choose the tame talking points, denounce Trump, but ignore Democrat errors. Yeah, I've seen that. It's like basically, well, we gotta hold back, my dude. We can't go whole hog. We're not allowed to do what leftists do and actually attempt to promote our views. We just have to hold the ground. Well, I mean, eventually, if you're just holding ground and not advancing, you're being forced back. And people on the right don't seem to have understood this. Moonlight. For at least 6 months, I thought you were Stéphane Molyneux, and I never knew why I did. Yeah, I don't think Molyneux dresses as a pirate. Copium poppies. Grilled cheese with Red Devil hot sauce is good, but I prefer ketchup or tomato soup. I have always used tomato soup or tomato basil soup, creamy preferably, for my grilled cheese. I know that in Europe it's usually ketchup, and it is good. There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, it tastes delicious. But with a real good tomato soup, like, I can't remember the name of the restaurant in Enschede in the Netherlands, but they have like creamy tomato basil, and they do have like grilled cheese capris and stuff. Trust me, that's what I ordered. First time I went there with Liz, I made the mistake of ordering this like bread of some sort, and it wasn't expensive or anything like that. Like, this is back when food was cheaper. They bring out this loaf, it's the size of a goddamn basketball. I'm like, okay. And then there's like 5 different spreads for it. There's like a pesto sauce, there's some sort of olive mixture, I'm not 100% sure. Tomatoey sauce, something with onions, and then there was another, I can't remember, like a mustard sauce. And trust me, you could only work your way through a couple of slices. I'm looking at the table, and you've got soup, you've got salad, you've got nachos, and then you've got this gigantic loaf of bread that's bigger than my head. And I'm like, okay, I guess we're eating leftovers for the next couple of days. It was an enormous, it was this big. It was a gigantic loaf of bread. I figured it would be a few slices with some, sauces on the side, just as a side dish. It wasn't a side dish. It's like, how many calories are on this table? 10,000 or something like that? Yeah, the two of us are going to be able to eat all of this. Like, I hope a clanker shows up. We'll invite him to a free lunch just to help out. Copium. Also, burned grilled cheese is best grilled cheese. I like mine lightly toasted, and I always do it with Munster cheese or Port Salut. The Jack 'em Up Kid, reparations, but in Confederate dollars. I've got a $20 Confederate note actually in my safe that a subscriber sent. Oh man, it's great. Anthony Perry, beer is just bread water. Agreed. I don't drink beer. Next, we go to an unfortunate story, now that we've gotten the levity out of the way. The disturbing post by Jeffrey Epstein, sex trafficking victim, who claimed Prince Andrew sexually abused her as a teenager. 4 days to live. Yes, Virginia Giuffre, and I'm probably mispronouncing it. It could be Giuffre, I'm not 100% sure, my apologies. Apparently has been given 4 days to live after her automobile collided with a bus, actually. Virginia Giuffre, née Roberts, 41, shared a photograph of herself from her hospital bed, covered in bruises she said she had suffered in a smash with a speeding bus. Posting to Instagram overnight on Sunday, the sex abuse survivor says she has suffered kidney failure and begged to see her children one last time before she dies. They've given me 4 days to live, transferring me to a specialist hospital in urology, she captioned the photograph. She does look pretty messed up in that photo, by the way, so, don't take the link if you have a, queasy stomach. This year has been the worst start to a new year, but I won't bore anyone with the details. But I think it's important to note that when a school bus driver comes at you driving 110 kilometers per hour, as we were slowing down for a turn, that no matter what your car is made of, it might as well be a tin can. It is not known when or where the crash happened. Isn't that incidental timing? Very interesting. Yeah, one of Epstein's main accusers, and an accuser of British royal, right as the head noble is probably dying at the moment. King Charles appears to be a bit fucked up, a little bit more fucked up than the rest of us. That she gets hit by a bus. Very interesting. Apparently this was in Australia. Very interesting. Also, I do believe that there was a campaign on the side of buses encouraging Prince Andrew to talk about Jeffrey Epstein fairly recently. Wow, what a coincidence. It's almost like somebody might have been paid off. Stranger things have happened. I hate to get all conspiratorial, but the spy versus spy thing is kind of real. Moonlight, you speak so proper, you probably have a rich laugh. Can you do a laugh that rich people do? Ha ha ha! Of course I can't. Arkatos, following these Tesla protests, I see right-wingers are now buying Teslas. I'm wondering if this takedown movement is some 4D chess move to get conservatives on board with the EV ethos. No, I think it's more leftists basically selling themselves short. To be clear, I'm not interested in getting an EV. That's not going to happen. It wouldn't work here in Vermont. It'll get so cold that the battery won't work. Ah, yes, indeed, we can be posh. Yeah, Prince Andrew is a perv. Virginia probably was molested by Prince Andrew and by other individuals on Epstein Island. We know that she was there. We know that she was there with Prince Andrew. What the fuck do you think happened? Okay? Seriously. And Andrew's messed up too. I mean, he looks like he's been ghoulified, basically. Oh yeah, by the way, thanks to Anton. Look at all the Bovrite. Yeah! We're gonna have some good times. Oh my. I can do a bit of an accent if you would like me to do so. I can be posh as well. I just have fun. I like doing accents. My favorite, though, is the Bernie Sanders accent. Free ice cream! That's water? This is happy water. Ran out of the other one. Already drank it. How sad. I really, really like the reformulation they've done with the Red Bull Zero. The Red Bull No Sugar used to be the one that was the go-to. But then they started putting monk fruit extract in these. And it's smooth and delicious. Let me tell you. Pickled onions and Vegemite. I want to see this. That actually sounds good. I can do that. Ramon CGTC. Your Arnold impression is cool too. It's not a tumor. Get to the chopper. Kill me. Kill me. The Jinx Boy. Think we are going to war with Iran? No, I don't believe we are. No. Yeah, I like doing impressions. It's just like some of them. Tim Pool does an extremely good Trump impression. Like he could do a voiceover and people would probably believe it was actually him. For some reason, I can't do Trump. I can do Sanders. I can do Schwarzenegger. And I can do my posh British accent. Yes, indeed. It sounds a little bit like Stolas from Hell of a Boss. There's a reason for that. I am from the Pride Ring of Hell. You just have to you have to get comfortable with your own voice in order to do impressions. And it's fun. Bog, smear Vegemite on face. No. Let me do some brown face for YouTube's purposes. I'm sure that they would enjoy that very, very much. Yeah, Razorfist can do Trump. He's good, and Tim Pool. Both of them are very good with inflection and stuff like that. I can do Bernie Schwarzenegger, and I can do the posh British thing. I could do a bit of the Irish as well. I'm gonna kiss the Blarney Stone. Vegemite blackface. Yeah, that's not a great idea. I am trying not to get banned. Now, let's get to our sponsors before we get to the lesser news stories, other than the Schimel one. That's a fairly major news story. We have 3 sponsors now. By the way, if you have a company or some sort of thing that you're selling, I am looking for 1 or 2 more sponsors. We can negotiate. You can DM me on Twitter. We have cultivated-mind.com, where you can get delicious mushroom pills. Several different varieties. I took my Radiant Energy this morning. That's why I'm so energetic. Take them every single day. Sometimes I take 2 of them, and I notice that if I mix it with caffeine, I get totally hypermodulated, and it's really, really great. BiltongUSA.com or AntonsUSA.com, where you can get delicious meat. Anton will feed you his sweet meat. Also, he can hook you up with Bovrite, Marmite, Vegemite, crackers, snacks, all sorts of stuff. We've also got Stick, Sex, and Hammer mugs, tumblers, travel cups, and shirts available as well. And then finally, jamandbean.com. That is JAMNbean.com, the home of Clank Blend coffee. I've had multiple people message me and say it's like the smoothest coffee that they've ever had. He sent me 3 different formulations, blends 1, 2, and 3. Blend 1, it was good, but it was a little bit too on the bitter side. And blend 3 was a little bit too light. Blend 2, smooth, delicious, absolutely fucking perfect. 10 out of 10 coffee. I drink it on the reg for a reason, and I've still got several more packets of it as well, so I'm very happy about that. They also sell tea, so you can get some of that. I think that it's delicious. I may be biased, but I'm biased for a good reason. David Coombs, my account on Google I've had for 15 plus years was hacked and deleted for illegal activity with no other explanation, and Google permanently deleted it. Interesting. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that happens to me someday, honestly. Google is notorious for that shit. Moonlight, I may be bi. No, I am super straight. Years and years ago, and I know that this is a rumor on the internet sporadically put out there, I was trolling fundamentalist Christians at the time. And so I declared myself to be possibly bisexual in order to troll them. I have never done anything with a male in any way, shape, or form, only with females. Sometimes this gets me in trouble, by the way. I'm not interested in men. I joke about it because I find that sort of humor hilarious. But yeah, I'm not bisexual. Moonlight, I'm not bi. I don't care if you are, you know. Personally, I think that if you're with a woman, if she's bi and she's doing something only with another girl, I don't care. In my relationships, it's basically like, As long as I'm the only cock in your life, it doesn't really matter to me. Your friendly neighborhood weenie dog. When is Trump going to mess up the Mexican government? I just can't wait. Our narco system is dangerous and tyrannical. Yeah, that's fine. I think that we should sweeten the deal with people within this hemisphere. So like with the Panama Canal, with Mexico, it's basically like ingratiate yourself to the other country. If I were Trump, I would take a visit down to Mexico City and Monterrey and so forth, and eat lots of good food in the process, by the way. And I would ham it up. And I'd be like, look, we want to be your best friend. You're right on our border. We just need certain elements of cooperation. What would you like? And then you negotiate from there. Mr. Mission Control, you're never the only cock. Well, you can be. You just have to know how to work things. Yeah, I'm super straight. Like, if someone had like bottom surgery, but they still have a Y chromosome, not interested. Sorry. No. Well, I'm not sorry, but you get it. You're just asking to die if you're Trump going to Mexico. Well, no. The only time that someone seriously took a shot at him was in Pennsylvania. Nixie, suck that trans woman's penis, lol. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, if it's female to male, it's weird because they've got a dick. And if it's male to female, they're still male, and so it would be gay. So yeah, I'm not interested. I'm only interested in natural born, perfectly regular females. And if people find that to be offensive, then I mean, there's something wrong with them, not with me. Now, we have to talk about the Wisconsin Supreme Court election. The polls are very, very close. Some polls show Crawford ahead, some polls show Schimel ahead. I endorse Brad Schimel, of course, for this position. The election is tomorrow. I suggest that any Wisconsinite, I think that's the term for it, get out and vote. Because this could come down to a few hundred votes in the end. If you look at the polls here with favorability and so forth, it could be pretty close to fucking 50-50. And so what you need to do is not only get out and vote, you need to also get somebody else out to vote. Now, there may only be a dozen people from Wisconsin watching this video. Most of my audience is US. A dozen would be probably a fair estimate of the number of people from that state that are watching this live stream right now. Get out and vote. Don't hesitate. Fucking go and vote. And get at least one other person to vote. Preferably spread word around and try to get him just over the edge. This is going to be close. In some polls, Crawford is ahead by a considerable amount. In others, Schimel is ahead by a considerable amount. But the general consensus, if you look at the average, is that it's pretty close to goddamn 50-50. And turnout, I believe, will generally be relatively on the low side based on some of the polling, which shows that there is a significant cohort that doesn't really have a choice because they don't know enough about either of the candidates. This is, by the way, disadvantage Crawford. That's the good news. It appears that more people don't really know about her than about Brad Schimel. More people know about him, ergo, he has maybe a slight advantage in that sense. But you can't rely upon that. This is going to be one of the most important off-election races that we've seen in quite some time. The state of Wisconsin is very important, especially considering what happened in 2020. So it would definitely be a good idea to support Brad Schimel if you happen to be there. And yeah, Werner Klankerer, the Quartering is a Wisconsin native. Yes, exactly. So we got to provide air cover. We got to provide air support, my dude. So vote for Brad Schimel, and don't just vote for him. also get somebody else to vote for him, and hopefully create a chain of people voting for him tomorrow in the special election for the Wisconsin State Supreme Court. That is extremely important. This is a very high position that we're talking about. If Crawford gets in there, you can expect more liberal policies from the state of Wisconsin. What will this mean for national elections? Now, all you have to do is ask yourself that question to understand the importance. Robot Nielsen, I think Red Eagle Politics is from Wisconsin too. It's funny, Wisconsin and Virginia pump out a disproportionate amount of significant content creators. Interesting. Laughing Dog in Wisconsin, and we got voter ID. She-Man all the way. Yeah, vote for Schimel. Make sure that you get out to vote. Get at least one or two other people to do so. And for the next 24 hours, you should focus some of your attention on trying to get other people in your inner circle to vote as well. You know, you can go to the candidates' pages, and they've all got web pages, and get the dirty, the nitty gritty on their positions on policies, and then you can try to convince other people. I mean, the Democrats have an advantage in elections anyway, because it doesn't matter whether you're dead or alive, whether you vote or not. So, you have to carry them over the margin. And Wisconsin has had some problems with regards to voting in general. Albuquerque GOP headquarters targeted in alleged arson. Direct assault on our values. Alleged arson. When you have vandalism saying ICE equals KKK on the side of the building, unless it's a false flag, like a Reichstag fire sort of situation, which I don't believe this is, it's not really alleged. It's arson. The entrance to the Republican Party headquarters in Albuquerque was destroyed in an alleged arson attack and vandalism attempt, according to the organization. The alleged incident happened early Sunday morning after the organization shared images showing the damage to the entryway of the building. Well, I wouldn't think this is an alleged arson because it's quite clearly burned out. So it is arson. Somebody set this fire. that much is clear. It was probably for a political reason. I mean, I'm just inferring that. It doesn't take Sherlock Holmes to understand why this would happen. The Albuquerque Fire Department also confirmed the alleged attack, saying they were dispatched to the call right before 6 a.m. and said the fire was brought under control within 5 minutes of fire crew's arrival, the department said in a post on their Facebook page. The structure suffered damage to the front entryway and smoke damage throughout the building, the department said, and added that there were no injuries to civilians or firefighters reported. Well, that's good news. But still, it's a political attack, quite obviously. It doesn't take a goddamn genius to understand why the GOP's headquarters would be attacked, especially considering the ICE equals KKK vandalism. It doesn't take a genius. Sherlock Holmes is a black lesbian now, says K-Dog Mulligan. I was not aware of this. Probable. I wouldn't be surprised in the least. It's like Doctor Who, at least there, though, the Doctor can shift forms, upon each incarnation. So there you got more leeway. It's like, maybe he chose to be a black dude this time. That time he decided to be a lesbian. Yummy. That's okay. Archon. Elementary, my dear Watson. Hound of the basketballs. Shit. Moonlight. Please don't say stuff like that about Hannah Claire. That's not nice. And slightly insulting. Hey, anytime that a person is having a white baby, the cohort of the audience should be celebrating. It's funny. Bovrite has the beefy overtone. Marmite. Here, let me do a taste test. Vegemite has almost a little bit of a cheesy aftertaste, if that makes any sense. Oh god, this is stuck shut. Holy shit. It appears to have sealed itself with the Marmite. Yeah, see, I can't even get it fucking open. Jesus Christ. How humiliating. There we go. Yeah, it was like, oh yeah, it sealed itself shut. It got all crusty up there. Yeah, Marmite is good, but it's more like a syrup, and it's definitely saltier. Oh yeah, there's like a crusty, pasty stuff all over it. Yeah, and then Bovrite, of course, that's the best one. That's the beefy one. BW, maybe that's why they stopped cloning. Didn't want them making any more white people. Lol. Anthony Perry, have you tried poutine? I actually haven't, no. Capsule. Oh, that's gone off, Sticks. Oh, no, it's perfectly fine. This stuff is so briny, fucking, I can leave it here on the desk for like 6 months. It'll be perfectly fine. Trump announces plan to chop down magnolia tree purportedly planted by Andrew Jackson. We were talking about him just the other day. Must come to an end. According to folklore, 2 trees were planted by Andrew Jackson to honor his late wife, Rachel. In a Truth Social post on Sunday, Trump said he was working with the wonderful people at the National Park Service to make tremendous enhancements to the White House, thereby preserving and protecting history. One of the interesting dilemmas is a tree planted many years ago by the legendary President and General Andrew Jackson, Trump described. It is a southern magnolia that came from his home, the Hermitage, in Tennessee. That's the good news. The bad news is that everything must come to an end, and this tree is in terrible condition. A very dangerous safety hazard at the White House entrance, no less, and must now be removed, he continued. The historic tree will be chopped down in coming days, and Trump wrote that it will be replaced by another very beautiful tree, which will probably be removed by any subsequent Democratic administration anyway. The historic wood from the tree will be preserved by the White House staff and may be used for other high and noble purposes, the president added. If the tree is fucked up, then I can understand the wisdom of removing it. If the tree is salvageable, though, or if some clonal piece of it can be created, it's not difficult to do this, by the way. You take one little twig, you put rooting hormone on it, and then you pamper it for a while. It'll turn into a sapling. You could dig the entire root system out, clone the tree, and then replant it. That would probably be the best idea, in my opinion. And it'll take some number of years. I've got a nice magnolia actually out there, and I completely cut it down because it got infested one year with what are they called? Those little plate insects that are on there, and it was completely covered. And it came back actually from its root system, from its stump, and now it looks beautiful. It's probably gonna have flowers all over it this year. I hate scale insects, and these were the big ones, by the way, the ones that leave that sort of like powdery black resin behind them as they munch their way through plants. Magnolias are particularly susceptible, so I'm going to be applying neem oil actually in order to keep them away this year. Yeah. I mean, if the tree is messed up, if it's fucking 200 years old, I can understand why you would have to chop it down. But if you can retain those little twiggy pieces right at the ends of the tree, under the proper circumstances, you can clone it. I would love to acquire one of those. Hell, I'd put it in the garden. Poo-poo. Pour alcohol down into the roots before transplanting so it don't go into shock. Well, you're not going to be able to probably transplant the actual tree. If it's that old, I'm assuming it's gigantic. What you would do instead is you would take trimmings, usually angular, at the ends of new growth, and then you would put rooting hormone on them, put them into potting soil, preferably terra preta. It works well, trust me, if it's properly charged. And have Trump piss on them or something like that. And then you would put them in a spring house, and they would sprout. They will sprout roots because of the hormone that you've applied to them. And then you can plant them anywhere you want. In fact, you could turn 2 magnolia trees into 20 magnolia trees if you really wanted to. It wouldn't be difficult. Copium poppies. I identify as a lesbian cephalopod. Lesko Gadsden. Yes, you could graft, I suppose. But if it's that old and overgrown and messed up, you probably would want to take any new growth that you can get your hands on and just root it. And then it would sort of renew the tree. I mean, if it was planted by friggin' Andrew Jackson, just replace the trees with the tree itself. That would be probably the best thing to do. Anyways, yeah, I don't want them to completely remove it. It would be, I mean, you can take the wood, that's perfectly fine, but root some of the, the little twigs on the end. Try to root them. You may be successful. You're going to have to take a lot of them, but, you have an unlimited budget, a large number of staff, so you can do whatever you want, basically. It's basically like playing Sim City, but with cheat codes or something like that. And then you take the wood and you repurpose it. I'd like a piece of wood from the magnolia. That would be fun. Take a length, turn it into a staff. That'd be cool. Bill Maher, NPR is crazy far left. We're past the age where government needs to subsidize news outlets. Again, we have Bill Maher being the broken clock. Okay, all right. The heads of NPR and PBS testified before Congress this week amid accusations of liberal bias. Should the government continue to send taxpayer dollars to public broadcasters? Well, a little background here. I mean, they've been after them for, the Republicans have wanted to get rid of PBS for as long as I can remember. The crowd will probably do it. I mean, I also, read my namesake, Catherine Maher was head of NPR. And she said, we're completely unbiased. Give me a break, lady. I mean, they're crazy far left. So, I mean, I think we're past the age, really, where the government, first of all, why do we need to subsidize? Why can't we have outlets like this? And we're so polarized. These outlets became popular at a time when Republicans and Democrats didn't hate each other. I disagree with them on that one. And weren't at each other's throats and didn't think each other was an existential threat. In that world, you can't have places like this, I think, anymore. They have to be private. So Maher's going broken clock mode, coming out in favor of privatizing NPR and PBS. I happen to agree with him, by the way. That is a good idea. We should not have any taxpayer money going towards public broadcasts if they have anything to do with sociopolitics. Now, if it's like a music channel or something like that, that's all right. But if it's political commentary and foreign policy and things like that, no, my money should not be going towards that because I'm paying for something that I actively disagree with potentially. And NPR is left-leaning, and PBS is definitely left-leaning. NPR is the lesser of the two evils. King of Biltong just released U.S. Wagyu Peri Peri Biltong. Great Wagyu flavor with mild heat. Almost 50% protein, packed with B12, creatine, iron, zinc, and much more. Go to BiltongUSA.com, code STICKS for 10% off. You should definitely try it, everyone. Inland surfer, harvest the seeds and propagate the scions across the country. Yeah, you can also do clonal cuttings as well. King of Biltong, we stream every Friday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern and Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern. We do some light banter while cooking real food live. Join in the fun by following our channel, rumble.com/c/eat at Anton's. Yeah. The thing is, PBS does some good stuff. Like, I think they're the ones that hosted Arthur for, what, 24 fucking seasons or something like that? Apparently, Steven Crowder was the voice of the Brain for a couple of seasons there. I did not know this until recently. And I think it was from the season where they had the Jekyll Hyde song, where Brain goes insane because he gets Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, the book from the library. And then he starts having weird dreams where he's going crazy and, like, you know, the acting out. And I thought that was so funny as a kid. No, not Pinky and the Brain. The Brain was a character on Arthur. By the way, every character on Arthur represents a personality disorder, and their names are always matched up with their species type. For instance, Arthur, Aardvark. Muffy, monkey. Not sure what Francine is. That's the only outlier. Brain, the badger. Buster, the bunny. What was his name? The bulldog one there. I can't remember the name of the bulldog dude. But it was started with a B for a reason. And like Arthur has ADHD, quite clearly. He also appears to have a delusional personality disorder. Buster quite clearly is on the frenetic side. He's hyperactive. Prunella the I can't remember the species. Prunella is like a new age, like Wiccan sort, and so she's sort of just loopy in general. And then Francine, she's sort of a bully, more than anything else. Oh, Binky. Binky was the bulldog. Yes, Binky the bulldog. And Binky is the bully with a dysfunctional family, and so on forth. And Brain, he's clearly autistic. When I pointed this out years ago, by the way, people were like, oh shit, you're right. It was pretty funny. Moonlight. Sticks Def watched a YouTube conspiracy video about this. No, I arrived at this conclusion myself. I was thinking back about the series, and I was like, holy shit. Every single one of these characters has a personality disorder of some sort. And Muffy, she's a narcissist, quite clearly. And then, who was it that had obvious BPD? Can't remember the name of the character. Anyway, yeah, I digress. Now we're on Bants mode at the moment. Harrison Bergeron. Everyone has a personality disorder of some sort. I know. I certainly do myself. But literally, in the case of Arthur, it was like deliberately tailored to represent like the broad spectrum of personality disorders. Everything from ADHD all the way to BPD, schizophrenia, arguably. Now, some of these characters were a little bit on the zany side. Now, it was meant to be entertaining, but they fall into that broad pattern stereotype. Also, did you notice the kids from Magic School Bus and the kids from Captain Planet look exactly alike? Captain Planet is just them as grown-ups, basically. Magic School Bus, by the way, and Captain Planet, both great series. Kilowatt. It was all in Arthur's head and made up, and each personality was just a branch of his own. Yeah, apparently Arthur was literally just God, and all of these other characters are his avatars. Moonlight. Which one was the heroin addict? I think they did talk about drugs in one episode. I remember in one episode, uh, they had these like older kids that were watching like Beavis and Butthead, but it was like Peanut and Nuthead or something like that. And they were trying to get Arthur and Buster to do like stupid shit to prove that they were cool and stuff like that. That was a funny one. But my favorite is still the Jekyll Hyde episode, the one where Brain sort of goes nuts and becomes delusional. Zeta Reticulus. Captain Planet was a globalist. True. I had some of the toys from Captain Planet. I had a ring, actually, when I was a kid. A Captain Planet ring that I got from buying cereal and sending in the little tabs there. And I lost it on the playground once and was despondent. I really loved that ring. I wish I still had it. But I liked Captain Planet. Was it preachy propaganda? Yeah, of course it was. Was it a fun show? Yeah, it was, honestly. Yes, Ryan. For a couple of seasons, yes, Steven Crowder voiced the Brain. I'm pretty sure he's the one that did the Jekyll and Hyde one. Gargoyles was good, absolutely. No, Dave. Stay in drugs, eat your school, don't do vegetables. Captain Planet. I like the YouTube poops with Captain Planet. Those are fun. And also that rabbit that was encouraging kids to brush their teeth or something like that. Can't remember the name of that one. We had very, very good television programming in the 90s when I was a kid. I mean, preachy, yes. Entertaining, fuck yeah. And we had all those old Burl Ives narrated like Christmas movies and stuff were always on TV around that time of year. And then you had Christmas in July too. So you'd get like, Rudolph and Frosty the Snowman and shit in the middle of July, and that was great too. Man, I love that. Anthony Way, Johnny Bravo was excellent. And Dexter's Lab, by the way. Yeah, Johnny Bravo, Dexter's Lab. Courage the Cowardly Dog, one of the best series ever made. I wasn't allowed to watch Ren and Stimpy, though. My mom thought it inappropriate for my age range. Ed, and Eddie, absolutely. Darkwing Duck. I actually had a Darkwing Duck magnifying glass that I got from sending in the tabs from the cereal boxes, too. And I used to burn ants with it. Man, I wish I still had that. Probably worth quite a bit of money at this point. Capsule. Vegemite can be used on snake bites in parts of Australia. Fun fact. Oh, that's interesting. King of Biltong. Apologies. Delivery just came in last beacon. Look at the Reaper Biltong. It's probably an 8 out of 10 on the spicy scale. I'd give it more of a 9 out of 10. It really, really hits hard, but thankfully dissipates fairly quickly. It's insane. I always thought capsaicin is capsaicin, but depending on the kind of pepper that you're actually eating, it either lingers and lingers and lingers, or it really, really punches you in the face and then it just dissipates to nothing. Reaper is the latter. Ghost pepper is more of the former. And so if you combine the two, you're just like torturing yourself. Mr. Buster Pants, I've been using NPR as a lefty profiler. Huh. Bog, yes, the gummy bears, and also David the Gnome. David the Gnome was probably my favorite as a little kid. I loved that show. David the Gnome. Yeah, I mean, I haven't really seen much of Ren and Stimpy because I wasn't allowed to as a kid, and now I'm a little bit old for that shit. Rocco's Modern Life was good. I think my all-time favorite, though, was Courage the Cowardly Dog. Oh, and Scooby-Doo, but the old ones, like from the 70s or whatever. Spike. My childhood cats were Ren and Stimpy. Great cats. Invader Zim was good. Power Rangers, Richard, that was good. David Hunter, Count Duckula. I don't think I've ever seen that one. Yeah, I watched mainly when I was a kid, I watched stuff from before I was born. So I would watch the old like Hanna-Barbera cartoons and stuff. Yeah, I would watch Looney Tunes, I would watch the Flintstones, I would watch the Jetsons, stuff like that. And then when I was a little bit older, I watched like the standard 90s fare, Ed, Ed and Eddie, Rocco's Modern Life and stuff. I like those. Johnny Bravo, Dexter, Dexter's Lab. But at the same time, I still always will love the older cartoons too. And some of the references are hilarious. Like, they had to edit the Flintstones because they were trying to sell Winston cigarettes on, on the Flintstones. You can look it up on YouTube right now. Look up Winston's Flintstones or something like that. And of course, they had to remove that for modern broadcasts. Yep, Cow and Chicken. I like that. Copium Poppies. I was allowed to watch Ren and Stimpy. I can still sing the Canadian kilted Yaxman anthem, but not The Simpsons. Kinda ass backwards. Either way, I still watched anyway. I was never a big Simpsons fan. Remember VR Troopers? No, actually I don't. No. DK Liberty, Happy Tree Friends. Yeah, that's a blast from the past from the 2000s. I like the Happy Tree Friends. Samurai Jack, Cat Dog, Bugs Bunny. Pirates of Dark Water. I haven't seen that one. Last Beacon. I can assure you that the biltong is a 10 out of 10 on flavor, yeah. Try the Cabanassi. Trust me, go for a hike and carry some of those in your pocket. They last forever anyway. And delicious. Yeah, one of the things that I hated, though, was Barney. We had so many little ditties about Barney in elementary school and about how much we fucking hated that fucking show. And I watched like a couple episodes of it and I'm like, wanted to hang myself basically. The basic ditty went this way, and there are 10,000 variations on this. I'm sure that you have one from your school. I hate you, you hate me. Let's team up and kill Barney with a great big punch, and Barney hits the floor. No more purple dinosaur. That was the one that we went with. There was one incident in which I turned off the ceiling fan, actually, in the back room. There was a classroom where we were learning, and then there was like a recreation area in the back, and it had a ceiling fan. So I climbed up on a chair, and I hooked a line to it, and then I hanged Barney and turned it back on, and he's whizzing around the room. We all got suspended from recess for that. Nobody ratted me out, though. Good kids. Of course, my girlfriend at the time was not going to rat me out. Her name was Amanda. She was a pretty cool cat. Tried to, talk to her actually some years ago, and I couldn't find her. It's all good though. She's probably got a husband and kids now by. That was pretty funny. Yeah, the teacher comes back, goes into the back room. Like we had all gone back to the front. She goes to the back room and she says, "Everyone, come back here." and we're all gathered around. And Barney is whirling around on the ceiling fan, and how fucking funny it was. It took so much effort not to crack a smile. It was almost impossible. It was great. One of the best days of my life, actually. Oh man, that was hilarious. Mm. That was the first time that I had a serious girlfriend. Can't remember what grade I was in. But yeah, it was pretty good. Barney's swinging around like at a 45-degree angle, swinging around on the ceiling fan. Oh, I laughed so hard later. Caillou, I hated that show. I always thought that Caillou had cancer, or Caillou, or however the hell it's pronounced. Because he's he doesn't look like he's 2 years old, so he shouldn't be fucking bald. I guess he's just a skinhead. Fireburn, did you do it with her sticks? Well, I was like 7 at the time, so no, no. We did kiss. Richard Vernadow, Sticks, did you have a Stretch Armstrong doll? No, but funny story. I'm going to go offline in a minute here, but first I'll tell you a really funny story. In one of the schools I was in, one of my friends, he was sort of the cool, wealthier kid. He did have a Stretch Armstrong, and he stored it in his locker, and it exploded. And then he opened his locker, and the goo was literally goddamn everywhere. It was sticking to everything. All of his homework, all of his books, his backpack, everything. I don't know how he managed to accomplish to get it to basically curl itself up and die, but the goo was literally everywhere. It was a huge mess. Teacher comes along and is looking at that, and you could see like the despondent look on the teacher's face, and like their face visibly sags, and they just like they sigh and then they walk in the other direction because they didn't want to deal with it. Those things were an absolute mess if they ever got pierced in any way. So if there was like a pinhole in it, you'd come back and an hour later all the goo is out of the Stretch Armstrong. And they were really fun at the time, but there probably aren't any left in existence that are intact because they were so fragile, actually. Yeah, the Stretch Arms, I don't even, yeah, Justin Fogan, it was corn syrup, yeah. It was mainly corn syrup in the goo inside of it. Much better usage of corn syrup than putting it in food, by the way. But the thing could stretch like 20 feet. I mean, it was impressive. The problem is that with successive stretching, it would weaken the outside of the Stretch Armstrong. And so eventually, it gave out. And then it bled goo all over the place. BW, 1997 to 2007, last great decade to me. Let's go. Open the locker and goo exploded everywhere. No, but some of it dripped out. And I was there for it, actually, because he was my friend at the time. And so he had the Stretch Armstrong. We'd been playing around with it sometimes. And but he put it in the locker, and for some reason it gave out. And the goo was everywhere. Just giant gelatinous globs of goo. It was insane. Hey dog, your dripping goo stories could become their own sordid tome. Plenty of drippage around me, my goodness. Yes, indeed. Anyways, I'm going to go offline. I believe that I'm going on with the quartering at 2 p.m. I'll have to message him. We've got a little bit of a shakeup within our business arrangement, but I'll have to talk to him. I don't know exactly what's happening, so we'll figure it out. I will be back tomorrow, of course. Gonna docket some more news stories and so forth. So yeah, everything will be fine. We'll get to more news. We got our standalones and all of the other good shit in the world. That's about all. Peace out.